Hello, people of the internet. This is Shaky Jake, and I really need a catchphrase. This is a video that I have been meaning to make for quite some time now. It's been in the back of my mind for a few days, and it's a channel update. First is why this channel exists. The second is the schedule or lack of schedule that this channel currently has. And the third is the undeniable proof that I somehow now have a video that's gone over 20,000 views. Yeah, I'm surprised by that last one as well. So in order to give you a little bit of a context into why this channel exists, this is not my first YouTube channel. My original YouTube channel I set up in April 2009, and at the time I didn't actually use it apart from liking, commenting, subscribing to people, favoriting stuff. I basically used it for that. I didn't actually upload anything to it until a year later in 2010, where it was a mix of college work I was doing at the time, a few early attempts at Let's Playing, and a few other videos that I made here and there, including a series that was semi-regular that actually had a little bit of a viewership. But otherwise, it was just a warts and all channel. I threw everything on there. It wasn't exactly a consistent channel. It didn't really have much of a vision to it. Looking back, I wish I kept my college and then later university work separate from all of the other stuff I was doing on that channel. I should have made two separate channels at the time, but again, that's hindsight talking. And I was very much in the mindset of anyone who has more than one YouTube channel is being a fool. They're just doing it to try and make people subscribe to them multiple times. And yeah, I was not a fan of making people subscribe to multiple channels. I'm still not, even now. But I realise there is actually some logic to having separate YouTube channels. And my biggest regret is not actually having my college and university work on my personal channel and then using another channel to upload all of the creative stuff. Because if I had done that, I probably would have still used the same channel for all the creative stuff instead of starting this new one this year. But again, that's just me talking with a bit more wisdom than I had 8 years ago, or well, when did I last regularly upload to that first channel? About 4 years ago. I was not as wise back then as I feel I am now. And I also wasn't in a great place at the time when I stopped uploading videos. But I feel now, whilst I'm still not in the best place I could be, this is a way for me to express myself and use it as some kind of therapeutic deal to make me feel better, and to also make sure that I can still remember how to actually edit videos, for one. So the reason I set this channel up was because I wanted to get back into the whole YouTube gig, and I wanted to do something that was somewhat constructive, and it would also get me to try and keep myself active in a way that was make sure that I could still remember how to use video editing software, keep myself up to date with technological changes, and also because I have a much better setup now than I did when I first started YouTube. I feel a lot more confident in actually making videos with playing games. I feel a lot more confident actually doing video editing, and I feel that the turnaround speed is a lot quicker now than it was several years ago. But I also wanted a fresh start, and I feel this current channel, the Shaky Jake channel, represents that fresh start that I've wanted for quite some time. Whereas my original channel, whilst all the videos have been privated, including my college and university work, and it has a lot of subscribers on there, and when I say a lot, it has about 162 subscribers. I didn't want to use my personal name going forward when it came to making content again. So that's the reason why this channel exists. The second topic I want to talk about is the schedule, or rather the lack of schedule that this channel currently has, as I said earlier. And I'm still trying to work out what the best schedule for me personally is. So I've got to decide when to record videos, when to compress the files, when to edit them, when to render them, and finally when to upload them. And at the moment I'm struggling to do that. I kept thinking over the past few months, oh, I'm definitely going to have a workable schedule by the start of this month, and then I'll put it in place at the start of that month. But unfortunately, it still hasn't happened, and I'm still trying to decide the best way to go about it, because I had it in my mind that I was going to record on certain days after I finished with my job, when I finished at work, and then I'd just be too shattered from working that day. So I'm still trying to work out the best way to schedule myself without making it feel like work, because again, I do this when I want to. I don't do this because it's my job. I certainly don't want YouTube as a career, because I hate how some people, they come across as desperate to me when they talk about how, oh, we're not making enough off ad revenue anymore, or oh no, Google are making all these changes to YouTube and it's affecting my entire livelihood. If you're putting your entire livelihood on a YouTube channel, you're an idiot. I'm sorry, but you are. It's not a great move to make, just relying on online revenue to keep yourself afloat. I'm sorry, it just isn't. And I'd rather have the job I have now, doing that and then doing this on the side, than just making this my livelihood and my focus. So the schedule, I'm still trying to figure out the best way to do it. I mean, on my current Let's Play, that is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, I've recorded 2 planets ahead of actually editing and uploading them, which I find quite hilarious, because years ago I probably wasn't even at that state. I probably hadn't even recorded the next part, let alone 2 planets worth of content. But, I have to try and work out the best way to do it. And in my mind, I want to use the weekends to record. So tonight I'll probably record a bit more Knights of the Old Republic, and tomorrow night I'll probably record a bit more. And maybe in the day as well, because I have been recording in the day. So I'll use the weekend to record, and then I'll try and use some of it to edit as well. And then if I'm very lucky, use some of it to upload. But again, there's a lot of things you have to do, and I kind of picked the worst possible game to do it with, because Knights of the Old Republic is so dialogue heavy, and it's so editing wise. I try and edit it so it feels a little quicker than it normally would do, because I have to look over the dialogue choices, then I have to read them out and all that stuff. So the scheduling I'm still trying to figure out. Once I've figured out a schedule, I might post another update just to explain how it's going to work. And then finally, the last thing I want to address is the fact I have a video that's over 20,000 views, which is a complete and utter shock to me. On my original channel, the most views I ever had for a video was 10,000 views. And it's not very often that I get views over a couple of hundred, say. This was on my old channel. On this channel, I'm barely making over, 60, let's say. Because this is a new channel, I'm not expecting it to do well, because YouTube is heavily oversaturated. There's a lot of people competing to do the same thing, and there's way too much to the point where you get information overload. And the video I made in question that got over 20,000 views was a rant I did, because I was getting fed up with people on Twitter basically saying that I was wrong, and that they were essentially, to my mind, they were having a go at me for having an opinion. Whether they agreed or disagreed, I don't really care. But the way they went about it really annoyed me, and I figured Twitter is not the greatest place to try and explain yourself, so I'm going to use the YouTube account to basically talk about it a bit more. And when I made that rant, it was because, as I said, I was fed up with how I personally felt with how it went down on Twitter, and YouTube gave me a bit more. It gave me a bit more of a chance to express myself and to talk about it a bit more. And I wasn't expecting it to do very well. I wasn't expecting it to make loads of views. I wasn't expecting it to have loads of comments, and I went into it thinking this won't get universal acclaim, because if you go into this thinking you're going to get universal acclaim for something, then you're not going to get that. So I was expecting a lot of derogatory stuff, but the video itself has done really well. It's made over 20,000 views, it's had a lot of likes, it's also had a lot of dislikes, but they're relatively close. So there's more likes than dislikes, but overall it's been derisive enough to have enough likes and dislikes on either side, and it's had quite a lot of comments as well. Now, some of the comments have been good, including the ones that personally disagreed with me. There have been some comments that are either a waste of time to read because it's just people who I get the impression that they're very young, talking off-topic stuff about how, like this if you're looking forward to this and all that kind of stuff. And then you've got a few other comments that I got really puzzled by, where they were basically saying things along the lines of, can't see the issue here, but I pretty much explained what the issue was in that rant if they'd watched it properly. So in my mind I was thinking, did they even watch the bloody video? And then there was a couple of comments which I found quite funny. One person was like, fake views, and I was thinking, well, if the views are fake, prove it, basically, because they're not fake. Judging by the comments that video has received, I'm pretty sure it's not fake. The views are definitely real. And it might be that someone shared it to a site somewhere, and that may have gotten me a bit more traffic. But overall, that video feels very authentic to me, view-wise. And the other comment I had was someone personally told me to shut up, which I thought was very amusing, because following the comment that someone posted about why they couldn't see the issue of why I was making a video, I then replied to them and expanded a bit more, because I had forgotten to say a few things in that video. Even if you script something, like I did with that video, there is still going to be a point where you'll forget to talk about something, and I know there was definitely something I forgot to talk about. And in that instance, I forgot to talk about how a good special edition would have done it, and I still have my physical copy of Super Meat Boy, the ultra rare edition, which gave everyone a t-shirt, a comic book, a soundtrack, a poster, a whole bunch of different stuff. And I was basically saying, if the Pokemon Gold and Silver re-releases had done something similar, I wouldn't be taking as much of an issue with it. In fact, I probably wouldn't have had an issue with it to begin with, because I would have happily paid more money to have those things in that edition than paying the same price for something that adds a box that didn't really add anything to it. But I was explaining all this and a few other points, and this one person basically told me to shut up and use my actual name. It wasn't anyone I knew, but it was just someone who basically knew my name was Jake, and then he basically said, shut up, Jake. And I was thinking, wow, this is this guy, man. It's really funny. And in all fairness, someone did actually stand up for me, which I thought was quite interesting. Another commenter basically said it wasn't very constructive, and that kind of thing. Which I thought was a very reasonable response. But that video's attention has really surprised me. So I should thank the internet for basically giving me a whole bunch of traffic, giving me a few extra subscribers on this new channel. Yeah, it's a video that's done very well, but I hope it's not my legacy on this website, because that was a video I made on the spur of the moment kind of deal. I was irritated, I was annoyed, I was personally fed up with how an entire post I'd made had got taken a little bit too far out of context, and also people were overly responding to it. So I decided to make a video explaining my thoughts a little bit more. None of them watched it because I didn't link it on there, but I made it for me. And if anyone agreed or disagreed, that's fine. But obviously some of the comments that were posted on that video were very extreme. They were very extreme. And that's about it, really. That's all I want to talk about for now. I will be making more videos in the future. I do want to carry on with Knights of the Old Republic. There are a couple of games that I want to play on the channel at some point. One of them is a game that's coming out in November, so I'm hoping to record that when I buy it. But anyway, thank you for watching, and goodbye.